Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job is in danger. I think he will be sacked as Manchester United manager. Because it doesn't look like he's got any plans of changing the team or changing his tactics. Now, he is under pressure at the football club, despite us winning our last two games in a row, because we beat West Brom recently by 1-0, and we're beating Everton by 3-1. The West Brom game, we was very, very lucky. Obviously, the goal came from a retaken penalty from Bruno Fernandes. And obviously West Brom had a penalty overturned by VAR. The Everton one, though, wasn't brilliant, but it was a much better performance than the West Brom one. We're sitting 10th, I think, in the Premier League, and that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. And when we beat West Brom, that was our first win at Old Trafford in the Premier League this season, because we did enjoy our worst start at Old Trafford for around 50 years. Now, Solskjaer won't be sacked as Manchester United manager at the moment. Obviously, we're going to see how probably the next 5 or 6 games go. But I don't think he's the right manager for Manchester United, like I've said time and time again, because he hasn't got that proven pedigree as a manager. I thought as a player, he was really, really good, because Solskjaer enjoyed 11 years as a player for Manchester United. And Ole has got a few issues to solve at the football club. He's obviously got to solve the Paul Pogba issue. I think he's got to drop Anthony Martial and start Cavani ahead of him. He's got to work out his best midfield. He's got to start Donny van der Beek. He's got to select the right formation. He's got to identify his best 11. If Solskjaer was still to be Manchester United manager in the new year, then obviously he'd have to recommend the right players in. He obviously has to get rid of more of the deadwood. But I don't think he will be Manchester United manager in the new year unless a miracle happens. He certainly won't be Man United manager until the end of this season. Now, Mauricio Pochettino is the favourite to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United. And it recently said, we must act soon if we want Pochettino. As it says, Pochettino has turned down several offers. Now, there's been a few clubs that have been in for him. Pochettino has been managerless now for like a year. On a Monday Night Football quite a few weeks ago, he made it clear that he's ready for a return to management because he's missing football. Now, obviously, Massimiliano Allegri, he's been another manager on our agenda. Said a few weeks ago that Julian Nagelsmann was on our agenda. But yeah, Man United do need a new manager, but we don't only need a new manager, we also need a new board. Because there's been problems with the board at the club for several years, reflecting now poor our recruitment policies being. The board haven't backed any of the managers that we've had since Alex Ferguson left. So obviously they didn't back Moyes, they didn't back Van Gaal, they didn't back Mourinho, and they haven't backed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough. And I think also Manchester United need a director of football. It's one of the structural changes that we need at the club. And plus, if we get a director of football in, Solskjaer will get more backing. But if we are to get one in, we need someone who knows the club well and someone who's got that experience, and obviously someone with the right philosophy. Don't forget, Ed Woodward came out the other week and said Manchester United remain absolutely committed to Solskjaer despite our poor start to the season. Now, Ole has been Manchester United manager for almost 2 years. I think it's next month. It will be his 2-year anniversary. Solskjaer's got a contract with the football club until 2022. He's managed over 100 games for Manchester United in all competitions since he came in. If we do decide to sack him, it'll probably cost the club around £4 or £5 million. The main explanation why he's still Manchester United manager, like I said time and time again, is because he is a club legend. And reflects on that, our board have softened their stance on him. But disregarding him being a club legend, I think he would have been sacked by now as Manchester United manager. This is his second full season, and I said this season was always going to be big for Solskjaer, and I said obviously he's got to exceed his expectations if he is to remain Manchester United manager. And I said if we could finish in the top 4 this season and if we could win a trophy, that would represent a very good season for Man United, and then that would give us something to build on. Now, there's a chance we could win a trophy this season. You know, we could win the Cowbell Cup. We're into the quarterfinals of that. We've got Everton. We could win the FA Cup, but we won't win the Premier League and we won't win the Champions League, will we? Now, last season was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first full season at the club, and he did well because he guided us to 3 semi-finals, he got us qualification for the Champions League, and also got us third. And reflects on that, I thought we'd have built on that and we'd have been, doing better this season, but obviously it hasn't turned out that way, has it? Just hasn't happened. Now, we've got tough games coming up, and games are coming up thick and fast for Manchester United. Now, obviously, it's Istanbul, Başakşehir tonight in the Champions League group stage. It is at Old Trafford. I give you my preview for the game recently, and I also give you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference. Obviously, Solskjaer is hopeful that Paul Pogba will be available for tonight's game. Paul Pogba did miss the game against West Brom because Solskjaer confirmed he had an ankle injury. We know that Luke Shaw's out with a hamstring injury. He's out for between 4 to 6 weeks. He sustained that hamstring injury against Everton. Phil Jones is still injured. Ole confirmed that Jesse Lingard is self-isolating because he's been in contact with someone with COVID-19. Bay, though, could be available. Solskjaer was also asked whether Dean Henderson will be playing tonight, and he's actually not sure. But Solskjaer said that Dean Henderson wants to stay at Manchester United, and he said he wants to play for Manchester United. There's obviously been rumours of Dean Henderson going out on loan in January. So obviously Dean Henderson can become England's #1 goalkeeper. Leeds United have been interested in Dean Henderson. Celtic have been interested in getting him on loan. I think it also mentioned that Brighton have been interested. But Dean Henderson is our #2. He hasn't played yet in the Premier League this season. He played the game in Turkey, did Dean Henderson, against Başakşehir. That was his Champions League debut for the club. The start of this season, Dean Henderson committed his future with Man United because he signed a 6-year contract with the club worth around 120 grand a week. And I think at some point he can become our #1 because he has got that experience behind him, because he did endure 2 successful loans with Sheffield United. Obviously, he's had other loan spells as well with Grimsby, Shrewsbury, and Stockport. We got Dean Henderson at the age of 14, so he has been part of the club for several years. As you all know, Solsjaer was talking about Anthony Martial during the press conference, and he backs Anthony Martial to rediscover his form, and he said he cannot rest on his laurels. Solskjaer explained why he's had a slow start to this season, and he said the main reason is because of that 3-match suspension he got in the Premier League. He did get sent off in our 6-1 defeat to Tottenham, Anthony Martial. But in reality, he shouldn't have been sent off. But Martial was good last season under Ollie, scored like 23 goals, and he was good in his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era. Martial's enjoyed a good 5 years or so now at the football club. I think it was last season we gave him that number 9 shirt. Ollie also mentioned that we've got to improve our focus. But yeah, we should be winning tonight against Istanbul Başakşehir. You know, they're a poor team. You know, they was only formed back in 1990. They lost at the weekend against Besiktas by 3-2. Hopefully this game tonight will be totally contrast to the one in Turkey, because we lost the one in Turkey by 2-1. Obviously it was goals from Demba Ba and Edin Visca. Anthony Martial had scored for us, and it was Istanbul Başakşehir's first ever win in the Champions League, because it's their first ever time in the Champions League. We need at least 10 points to get into knockout stages, don't we? I think we're going to get to knockout stages anyway. Obviously on Sunday, we've got Southampton away. That's going to be a very, very difficult game. Southampton are in good form. They drew with Wolves though yesterday, 1-1. But they're sitting 5th in the Premier League. They've registered 17 points from their opening 9 games in the Premier League. The fixture at St Mary's last season was 1-1, and it was 2-2 at Old Trafford last season. You know, Southampton have got some good players in their team. Obviously, they've got Danny Ings. He's been out with injury. They've also got Stuart Armstrong. They've got Nathan Redmond, who I think is quite good. They've got Obi Femi. They've got Theo Walcott. Obviously, they got him on loan from Everton. They've got Romeu. They've got Che Adams. They've got Kyle Walker-Peters. I think he's leaving them at the end of the season. He's going to Tottenham, isn't he? They've got Vestigard, however you pronounce his name. They've got Ryan Bertrand, who I think is really, really good. They've got James Ward-Prowse. So that will be a very, very difficult game. And Ralph Hasenhüttl has done a good job at Southampton. Southampton seem to have bounced back since that 9-0 hammering of Leicester. After Southampton, it is PSG. That's going to be another difficult game. Then it's West Ham, should be winning that. Then it's RB Leipzig, difficult game. And then it's Manchester City, difficult game. So we've got to perform better. If the performances match the results, then that's good, isn't it? You know what I mean? But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has spent over £200 million since he became Manchester United manager. And he's enjoyed 4 transfer windows at the club. In the summer of 2019, he brought Daniel James, Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. In January, he brought Bruno Fernandes in, and he brought Odin Igalo in on loan. And in the summer transfer window of this year, he brought Donny van der Beek in, Edison Cavani, Alex Telles, Facundo Pellistri and Amad Traore. I think Amad Traore is coming to the football club in January. Ole has been very tactically naive in a lot of his games at Man United, but in a lot of the big games, he's showed a lot of tactical flexibility, hasn't he? Our record against the top six sides has been very, very good since he got appointed in. I also like the way that Ole has promoted the youth. We've seen a lot of players leave since he got recommended into the football club. We've seen the likes of Ander Herrera leave the club and Romelu Lukaku. I think they are two players Manchester United should have kept. We also let the likes of Fellaini leave, Darmian, Smalling, Young, Valencia, Angel Gomez, Sanchez. They've all left the football club. We've obviously seen a few players go out on loan. You know, we've seen Tahith Chong go out on loan, Dylan Levitt go out on loan, James Garner go out on loan, Joe Pereira went out on loan again. Diego Dalot went out on loan. Andres Pereira went out on loan. So he has got rid of some of the deadwood. It is good that we are making plans for next year. Next year, obviously, Manchester United are looking to make more signings. And obviously, we are looking to get rid of more players. Now, there has been a lot of players on our agenda, hasn't there? Now, yesterday, I give you the breaking news on Dayot Upamecano from RB Leipzig. Now, he has confirmed that he will be leaving Leipzig next summer. It's Manchester United and Liverpool that are interested in him and they are preparing bids for him. Now, Bayern Munich were interested, but it's turned out that they can't afford him. Dayot Upamecano is available for around £36 million at the end of the season because that's when his release clause does become active. Now, the main explanation Liverpool want him is because they've obviously got Virgil van Dijk out of a serious injury. They've obviously got Joe Gomez out. They did have Andrew Robertson out, but Andrew Robertson is now back. Upamecano has been at RB Leipzig now for a few years. He's got a contract with them till 2023. Leipzig only paid around £9 million for him from Red Bull Salzburg. I'd love him at Manchester United. He'd go well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. It also mentions that we've been interested in that Marcel Sabitzer from RB Leipzig. Now, it said the other week that we was interested in David Carmo from Braga. He's obviously another centre-half. He said a few weeks ago that we was interested in Dan Axel Zagadou. He's a centre-half for Borussia Dortmund. Obviously, we have revived our interest in Jack Grealish. You know, if we can sell Paul Pogba next year, then I think there would be room for Jack Grealish to fit in. We was in for him during the summer, you know, but Villa said during the summer that they wanted £80 million and that put us off and we had concerns about where he would fit in the team. Was it earlier on in the season Grealish signed a 5-year contract with Aston Villa? Up until this point, he's spent the entirety of his career with Villa. He obviously now plays on that left-hand side, does Jack Grealish. He started playing there towards the end of last season, didn't he, with Villa? Jadon Sancho, it says that we're going to go back in for him in January and it says we're going to copy Chelsea's structure. That's what it said the other week. Sancho was our number one priority target during the summer transfer window. But the main explanation why we didn't get him is because we was not willing to meet what Borussia Dortmund were demanding. Dortmund said they wanted £108 million. It was too much. But he said a few times during the summer transfer window that we was close to getting Sancho and it said like the personal terms had been agreed and it said the agent fees had been agreed. Just couldn't come to an agreement on an actual fee. That was the problem. But Michael Zorg and Lucien Favre did say, didn't they, that Sancho would have been staying at Dortmund, which he has. Dortmund said during the summer we had until the 10th of August to sign the player. But he's endured a difficult start to this season with Dortmund. Analysing the vast majority of his career at Dortmund, he's been very, very consistent. This is his 4th season with Borussia Dortmund. He's got a contract with Dortmund until 2023. Dortmund only paid £8 million for him from Man City back in 2017. The main explanation he left Manchester City is because he didn't get assured any first team opportunities. Now, Ousmane Dembele, it says, he's another player that we could go in for next year. He's an alternative to Sancho, but he's a cheaper solution than Sancho. Erling Haaland might go in for him next year. I said it was a shame that we missed out on Erling Haaland because he would have been an Ole Gunnar Solsjaer type signing because Solskjaer knows the player well. But Man United need a centre-half and we also need a right winger. They are the 2 priorities. Now, I think the players we are going to get rid of next year is Phil Jones, Marcus Rojo, Sergio Romero. We're going to get rid of him because he's now our 3rd choice goalkeeper. I think we're going to get rid of Timothy Fosu-Mensah. We'll offload a few players in the summer, next summer that is. I think we'll offload Lingard. Matic could go because he's lost his place in the team, despite him starting against West Brom recently. Juan Mata, he could also go. Paul Pogba, a lot of United fans are expecting him to go. Daniel James could go because Daniel James's appearances have been limited this season. He's only played 5 games in all competitions this season, but despite that, Daniel James says he's still happy at Manchester United. Magallo leaving January when his loan expires. There's rumours saying that Williams could go out on loan. It says that Southampton are interested in getting him on loan because they want to provide competition for Ryan Bertrand. Williams is now our 3rd choice left back following the arrival of Alex Telles. Williams played around 30 odd games for the first team. He was very, very good last season, was Williams, to be fair. He made his senior debut for the club against Rochdale in the EFL Cup last season. During the summer, Williams signed a 4-year contract with Manchester United, and at the start of this season, we give him that number 33 shirt. But it will be beneficial to put him out on loan so he can obviously gain more experience. But yeah, there's a few players that we are going to offload. Now, in the last 8 years or so, nothing's changed at Manchester United. It's just been like an ongoing cycle. Obviously, 3 managers have been sacked since the Ferguson era. And obviously, that was David Moyes, sacked him after 8.5, 9 months. Finished 7th under the David Moyes era. That's the lowest we've finished in the Premier League era. Obviously, we sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, despite him winning the FA Cup. And we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years, despite him winning the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield in his first season. So, Ollie's our 4th permanent manager since the Ferguson era. We've only won 4 trophies since Ferguson left. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013, so we haven't won it now for like 8 years or so. We've spent over £1 billion on players in the last 8 years, and we've recruited over 30 odd players in since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. So nothing has changed at Manchester United, and we can't just keep sacking managers, can we? Because that won't really solve a lot. It won't solve a lot if we sack Ollie. It really, really won't. It really, really won't. But like I've said, there's players at Manchester United this season that have impressed me. I won't deny that. Bruno Fernandes, he's really, really impressed me. Bruno Fernandes is our best player. Marcus Rashford, he's impressed me in a lot of his games this season. There has been a couple of games where he has looked off the pace. Donny van der Beek, he's impressed me when he's played this season, but he's hardly played, has he? He's not yet made his full Premier League debut for the club. Fred, he's impressed me in a lot of games this season. There's been a couple of games where he's looked off the pace. McTominay's had a good couple of games. Luke Shaw impressed me in the last 2 games he played in. Harry Maguire, he's really, really impressed me because he's bounced back from his early season troubles. Lindelof's had some good games this season. Wan-Bissaka's really, really rejuvenated himself. De Gea's done well this season. Juan Mata, he's had some good games this season. So that is really, really good to see. Obviously, there's players that have been underperforming. Martial's enjoyed a difficult start to the season. Pogba, he's been very, very inconsistent. Analysing the vast majority of Paul Pogba's career at Man United, he's been very, very inconsistent. He's only had a good couple of periods at Man United. Paul Pogba made a few comments recently, didn't he, saying that this season has been the most difficult period in his career. And he said that playing for France is a breath of fresh air. And in general, he was just talking about his struggles at Man United this season. And obviously he's unhappy at the club because he's actually lost his place in the team. He's only started 2 of our last 8 games or something like that. Solskjaer revealed that he's had talks with Paul Pogba and he's backed Paul Pogba to improve. Reflect on Paul Pogba's recent comments, he has received criticism. Didier Deschamps, the France manager, as well, has been talking a lot about him recently, saying that obviously he can't be happy with his situation at Man United for being left on the bench and for playing out of position. And Didier Deschamps said during the international break that he understands Pogba better than Solskjaer and all of this. Matic, I think he's been inconsistent as well for Man United. He's been quite poor when he has played this season. But like I said, he has lost his players in the team, hasn't he? Daniel James, he's another player that's been out of form. Greenwood, he obviously can't really say much about him, can you? Because he's obviously had issues this season as Mason Greenwood. Obviously, he's had injuries and he's had personal issues, like Ollie confirmed. Greenwood was withdrawn from the England under-21 squad, wasn't he? Because of, the injuries and the personal issues. He was withdrawn from the England squad earlier on in the season with Phil Foden for breaking COVID-19 rules. Solskjaer confirmed prior to the West Brom game that Greenwood had missed 9 days of training because of illness and all of that. Solskjaer's been defending him this season, and Solskjaer said he's enjoyed a fantastic year. So there you go. So, anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.